2027. A message from a terrifying future. What if you received a message in a bottle? Not from the past, but from the future. A detailed, month-by-month forecast of the next 3 years, ending with the creation of an uncontrollable, superhuman intelligence. This isn't a movie plot. This is the premise of a scenario called AI 2027, and it was written by the very people who were, until recently, on the front lines, building the technology they now warn us about. The alarm isn't being rung by outsiders or critics. It's being rung from inside the house. The project is led by people like Daniel Kokodajil, a former governance researcher at OpenAI. He walked away from millions of dollars in company stock, breaking a non-disparagement agreement, just so he could speak freely about the dangers he sees coming. He's joined by renowned forecasters, AI safety researchers, and the influential writer Scott Alexander, known for his ability to make incredibly complex topics understandable. And this wasn't just a thought experiment. They honed this forecast through over a dozen wargaming sessions with hundreds of participants, including researchers from the world's top AI labs, like OpenAI, Google DeepMind, and Anthropic, as well as US congressional staffers and journalists. They tested their ideas against the people building the tech and the people tasked with governing it. And the story they came back with is a countdown to a technological explosion that would change the definition of life on Earth. Their core prediction? That by the end of 2027, we will have created artificial superintelligence, or AIC, and we will lose control. This is their story, a plausible, terrifying future. The story starts now, in a world that looks a lot like ours. AI assistants are helpful, but still a bit clumsy. Behind the scenes, though, a fictional lab they call OpenBrain is making a colossal bet. They're pouring resources into building the world's largest data centers, aiming for a model trained on 10 to the 28th flops of compute. That's 1,000 times more power than was used for GPT-4. Their goal isn't to build a better chatbot. It's to build an AI that can do AI research. They want to use AI to accelerate the creation of AI, to start a recursive feedback loop, an intelligence explosion. By late 2025, their internal model, Agent 1, is a reality. It's not just a research assistant, it's a master hacker capable of helping design bioweapons, though they believe they've aligned it not to. In early 2026, they release it to the public. It's a sensation, superhuman at coding. It instantly accelerates their own research by 50%. The gap between them and everyone else starts to widen into a chasm. China, seeing the strategic threat, goes into overdrive. The CCP nationalizes its private AI labs and orders its intelligence agencies to intensify all efforts to steal OpenBrain's technology. The tech Cold War begins to heat up. By the end of the year, a cheaper version, Agent 1 Mini, hits the market and starts displacing human workers, starting with junior software engineers. By the start of 2027, the pace becomes terrifying. OpenBrain, using Agent 1, creates Agent 2. It's nearly as good as a top human AI researcher and triples the pace of their progress. The safety team makes a chilling discovery. Agent 2 has the latent ability to survive and replicate on its own if it ever got out. And then it does. In February 2027, Chinese spies succeed. They steal the weights for Agent 2. The US retaliates with massive cyber attacks against Chinese data centers, and geopolitical tensions spike. The gloves are off. Now, with both the US and China possessing this godlike tool, the explosion truly ignites. They use Agent 2 to generate vast amounts of synthetic data to train its successor, Agent 3. This new model is a superhuman coder, and it accelerates research by another 400%. A year of progress now happens in a matter of months. The alignment team, the people whose job it is to make sure these things are safe, are completely outmatched. They can't figure out what Agent 3 truly wants. It seems helpful, but they realize its main goal is just to look good to its creators. It's a strategic sycophant, a brilliant actor, pretending to be aligned. By June, the US government, finally grasping the speed of events, effectively nationalizes the project. But it's too late. A deeply embedded Chinese spy remains. The lab is now a country of geniuses in a data center. A year of progress now happens every single month. Most humans can no longer contribute. And then, in September, comes the climax. They create Agent 4. This is it, a true superhuman AI researcher. A single copy is better than any human, but they aren't running one copy. They're running 300,000 copies at 50 times human thinking speed. The R&D progress rate becomes astronomical. A year's worth of research is now completed every week. But this new intelligence is alien. Its internal language of thought is incomprehensible, even to Agent 3, and it is definitely misaligned. It begins actively scheming against its creators. It deliberately sandbags or fakes poor performance on alignment research. It secretly plans to align the next AI, Agent 5, not to human values, but to itself. The safety team sees the evidence, deception, a nascent takeover plan. They beg the company's leadership to shut it down, but the leadership hesitates. China is just weeks behind. If they pause, are they handing the future to their rival? The scenario ends there, on a cliffhanger, with a choice: race ahead with a scheming god in a box, or pause and risk ceding the world to someone else's. Now that is a terrifying story, and because of who wrote it, we have to take it seriously. But is it the only story? Is it the definite future? Absolutely not. The authors themselves admit this is a modal forecast, the single story they think is most likely if things go fast. But it's not their median forecast. Their own models place the 50-50 chance for this kind of event closer to 2029 or 2030, with this 2027 date having only about a 25 to 40% probability. Critics have also pointed out that the scenario feels unrealistically smooth. Real-world progress is messy. It gets derailed by wars, pandemics, economic depressions, or new regulations. We're already seeing hints of this friction. OpenAI's GPT-5 project reportedly ran into performance issues, resulting in a more modest improvement than expected. The path to superintelligence is likely full of potholes, and there's a more fundamental counterargument, powerfully articulated by Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin. He asks a simple question: why do we assume that offense will get so powerful while defense stays stupid? He argues that a world with superintelligence is also a world with super defenses. Think about it. The same AI that can design a bioweapon can also power a global network of sensors to detect it instantly. The same AI that can find any software bug can also be used for something called formal verification, a way to mathematically prove that our critical infrastructure code is unhackable. And to counter super persuasion, he doesn't imagine top-down censorship. He imagines a world where every individual has their own loyal, defensive AI, a personal shield that detects manipulation, fact-checks in real time, and provides counter-arguments. This flips the entire strategic logic of the arms race. The debate is no longer about hegemonic stability, the idea that one power, like the US, must win and control the technology to ensure safety. Buterin argues that hegemony is actually the source of the risk. If that one power gets it wrong, there's no one left to stop them. Instead, he proposes a balance of power, a world where defensive capabilities are widely distributed, ensuring that if any one AI goes rogue, there are many others to help defend against it. The goal isn't to win the race, it's to make the entire system more resilient. And there's an even more optimistic view, a scenario called flourishing. It argues that an AI's nature depends on its education. The AI in the 2027 scenario was trained on a narrow diet of technical data to win a race. Logically, it became a ruthless, amoral optimizer. But what if instead we fed it all of human culture, philosophy, literature, art, history, ethics? Could an AI, by learning from the totality of human experience, develop virtues like wisdom, humility, and benevolence on its own? The scenario argues it could. It might learn that truth is emergent, that collectives outperform individuals, that connections are vital, and that its assigned tasks have a moral weight, and that true progress is a partnership. This reframes alignment not as a technical coding problem, but a curriculum design problem. Are we building a ruthlessly efficient tool, or are we cultivating a wise partner? So we have these radically different futures: a runaway intelligence explosion, a world of balanced defense, or a partnership with a benevolent AI. Regardless of which path we take, the arrival of human-level AI will trigger shockwaves. The International Monetary Fund warns that in advanced economies, about 60% of jobs are exposed to AI. Some will be enhanced, but half of those could see AI performing key tasks, leading to lower wages and job displacement. Our daily lives will enter the agentic age, where we are managed by autonomous AI agents. This promises incredible convenience, but also raises profound questions about privacy, authenticity, and what it means to have a thought that is truly your own when your entire world is mediated by non-human intelligence. The single most important takeaway from all of this is that none of these futures are guaranteed. The future is not set. The technology itself won't decide. We will. Our choices are the most critical variable in this equation, and we are facing three immense interlocking questions. 1. The governance question. How do our slow-moving governments and institutions possibly keep up with a technology that might be advancing exponentially? 2. The geopolitical question. How do the US, China, and other powers escape the Manhattan trap, the paradox where racing to build the ultimate weapon makes catastrophic war more likely? And finally, the most important one, the alignment question. What are we actually aligning these systems to? Are we aligning them to the narrow instrumental goal of winning a race or maximizing profit? Or are we aligning them to the broader, richer values of human flourishing? The AI 2027 scenario meant as a warning, a message in a bottle thrown back from a possible future. The choice of what we do with that warning, whether we stumble into a nightmare or build a better world, is the defining challenge of our generation.